Anything you have to say, sir?
Well, I thought that perhaps we could go. We raised several questions all through these discussions. One was the nature of this ground that we discussed, and whether we could come to it, and whether it has any interest in human beings, and whether also that we discussed the possibility that there could be a change in the physical behavior of the brain.
Quite. Could we approach this question from point of view, why have ideas, because is the ground an idea? That's what I want to first be clear. Why have ideas become so important?
Well, I should say perhaps because the distinction between ideas and what is beyond ideas is not clear, that the ideas are often taken to be something more than ideas. That we feel it's not an idea but actually a reality.
That's what I want to find out.
Yeah.
Is it an idea or is it an imagination, an illusion, a philosophic concept, or something that is absolute in the sense there is nothing beyond it?
Well, how can you tell that there's nothing beyond it?
I'm coming slowly. I want to see whether we look at that or we perceive that or have an insight into that as from a concept. Because after all, the whole Western world and perhaps also the Eastern world is based on concepts. Their whole outlook, their religious beliefs is all based on that. Even and in Asiatic world too. But do we approach it from that point of view? A philosophic investigation, philosophic in the sense love of wisdom, love of truth, love of investigation, the process of the mind. Are we doing that when we discuss or when we want to investigate or explain or find out what that ground is?
Yes, well, perhaps not even all the philosophers have been basing themselves on concepts. I mean, that certainly philosophy is taught through concepts.
Yes, that's what I'm just questioning that.
Yeah, but I mean, whether all the philosophers really wanted to base everything on concepts is another question. I mean,
I didn't say all, some. Let's say some.
Most of them, in fact. But,
most of them.
And certainly, it's very hard to teach it except through concepts, right?
So I just want to know, what then is the difference between a religious mind and a philosophic mind? You understand what I'm trying to convey? Perhaps I'm not doing it properly. Do we investigate the ground from a mind that is disciplined in knowledge?
Yes, well, fundamentally we say that the ground is unknown inherently.
So that's what I want.
And
yes.
therefore knowledge, we cannot begin with knowledge. Many years ago we had a discussion in London suggesting to start from the unknown, you know.
Yes, yes. No, I say for instance,
yeah.
X says there is such a ground.
Mm-hmm.
And all of us, X, Y, Z and ABC, say what is that ground? Prove it. Show it. Let it manifest itself. And when we ask such questions, is it a mind that is seeking, or rather, that has this passion for truth, the love of truth? You follow it?
Yes,
or
well,
merely say, let's talk about it.
Well, I think that in that mind, there's the demand for certainty, which, you know, it says, show itself, I want to be sure. So, therefore, there's not inquiry. Right?
Now, suppose you state that there is such thing. Mm-hmm. There is the ground, immovable and so on. And X, like, I take the part of X, X says, I want to find out. Show it to me. Prove it to me. How can my mind, which has evolved through knowledge, which has been highly disciplined in knowledge, even touch that? Because that's not knowledge. That's not put together by thought.
Yes, as soon as you say prove it, you want to turn it into knowledge.
That's it. That's yes. Prove it to me. Show it to me.
To be absolutely certain knowledge is what you want.
That's it.
So that there could be no doubt. And yet, of course, there's also the danger of self-deception and delusion on the other side.
We've been through all that very carefully. Right from the beginning. We say the ground cannot be touched, or whatever it is, as long as there is any form of illusion, which is the projection of desire, pleasure, fear, and all that.
Yeah, I merely meant to say that the person who says prove it is also trying to be to protect us against those illusions.
Yes.
But it's a vain hope. I mean.
So how do I, as an X, perceive that thing? That's what I want. Is the ground an idea to be investigated? Or is it something that cannot be investigated?
Right.
Because my mind is trained, disciplined by experience and knowledge. And it can only function there, in that area. And you come along and tell me that this ground is not an idea, is not a philosophic concept, it is not something that can be put together by thought or perceived by thought.
Yes, or understood by thought, right?
Yes, understood by thought. Then what am I, what...
Yeah. I think you're even adding more in some sense, because the person says, I want to find it by experience.
Okay.
The same, not only thought, but also...
Of course.
Saying it cannot be experienced, it cannot be conceived, you say, or understood through thought.
Yes. So then what have I? I have only this mind that has been conditioned by knowledge. How am I, as an X, to move away from all that? Because there are more philosophers than religious people. Sorry.
Well, I mean, it depends. There are very few true philosophers, too. I don't know which one.
Even there are very few religious people, too.
And there are very few of either.
I'm just making a joke of it.
Yeah, but, well, I don't know. You could say that, like, to compare the number of people who call themselves philosophers and who call themselves religious, far more call themselves religious. But it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't count, right?
So how am I, an ordinary man, educated, read, experienced, to feel this thing, to touch it, to comprehend it? You tell me words will not convey that.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me you must have a mind that's free from all knowledge, except technology, the other kind of knowledge. And you are asking me an impossible thing, aren't you? And if I say I'll make an effort, then that also is born out of the center out of the self-centered desire. So what shall I do? I think this is not a spurious question. It is a very serious question. This is what everybody asks. Everybody in the sense, I mustn't use this general term, serious people ask.
Well, implicitly. At least implicitly.
Yes.
They may not say it.
Yes, implicitly. So, you on the other side of the bank, as it were, tell me that there is no boat to cross. You can't swim across. In fact, you can't do anything. Basically, that's what comes to. So what should? You're asking me to free them. You're asking the mind, not the general mind, but this particular mind. You're asking this particular mind to eschew all knowledge. My God, sir. Has this been said in the Christian world or in the Jewish world?
Well, I don't know about the Jewish, well, they would have said exactly that, but they, in some sense, the Christians tell you to give your faith to God, you see, to give up all your personal, to give over to Jesus, as it were, and let Him...
No, they've said that, but only through Jesus,
Yeah, but He is the...
He's the door through
He's
which
the
you go.
mediator between us, you and God, right?
Yes. But no, what I'm trying to find out is, say for instance, Vedanta means the end of knowledge. And you know that, of course. The ending of knowledge.
Well, it could mean that, I suppose. I don't know Sanskrit that well. I mean,
yes, Veda,
Veda means knowledge by itself. Veda by itself means knowledge, doesn't
knowledge.
it? Yeah.
That means end of that.
The end, that means the end of it. Huh?
Mm. And being a Westerner, and I said, it means nothing to me. Because from the Greeks and all that, this culture in which I have lived is emphasizing knowledge. I don't know, last night Bronovsky was talking again about...
You mean they showed it? Huh?
Yes, about evolution of man and all that. See, when you talk to an Eastern mind, I'm talking of the minds who have studied, not just the usual. They know, they acknowledge in their religious life, a time must come when knowledge must end. The Vedantis, that is their whole way of looking. They would immediately understand that the mind must be free from knowledge. But it's only be a conceptual, a theoretical understanding. But if as a Westerner, it means absolutely nothing to me.
Well, in the beginning, I think that there has been a Western tradition which is similar but not as common. Like in the Middle Ages, there was a book written called The Cloud of Unknowing.
Cloud of Unknowing, yes.
Which is on that line, but it's not the main line of Western thought.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's not the main line of Western thought, no. So what shall I do? How shall I approach the question? I want to find it. Not only find it, it gives meaning to life. Not my intellect gives meaning to life by inventing some illusion or some hope, some belief, but I see vaguely that this understanding or coming upon this ground gives an immense significance to life.
Yes, well, it would be what people have used that notion of God to give significance to life.
No, God is merely an idea.
Yes, but the idea contains something similar to the Eastern idea that God is beyond knowing. At least most people accept it that way.
Yes.
Though some may not, but... So there's some sort of similar notion.
No, but this, you tell me, this is not created by thought.
Yes.
So you cannot, under any circumstances, come upon it through any form of manipulation of thought.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. I'm trying to say that there's this problem, this danger of delusion in the sense that in the West people say, yes, that's quite true. It's through the direct experience of Jesus that we come upon it, not through thought, you see.
But that is, after all, direct experience of Jesus.
Well, that's my words. They might not even talk that way. I don't know, I'm not able to express their views accurately. Well, the grace of God, yes.
Grace of God, yes.
Something beyond thought, you see.
I reject. as a fairly educated man, fairly thoughtful man, reject all that.
Yes, why do you reject it?
Because it has become common, first of all. Common in the sense it's everybody says that. And also, there may be, or perhaps there is in it, a great sense of illusion created by desire, hope, fear.
Yes, I mean, but some people do seem to find this meaning that it may be an illusion. But
no, but if they had never heard of Jesus, never heard of Jesus, they wouldn't experience Jesus.
That seems reasonable.
They would experience what
Something
they had
else.
been taught.
Yes.
In India, they would, Jesus, it's...
Well, that seems to be the weak point, that the particular form of Jesus must be due to their having heard that idea, or those words.
Of course, obviously.
And the pictures and so on.
When you are daily pounded that Jesus is your savior, I mean, naturally
Yeah,
you...
it would be interesting if somebody who had never heard of Jesus would ever have this experience. Then that would be some sort of proof there was more to it, right?
But wouldn't you also say that there are some more serious people in all the religions who would say that essentially what they want to say is that also God, or whatever that is, the absolute or the ground, is something that cannot be experienced through thinking, or also they might even go so far as to say it cannot be experienced at all.
Oh yes, I said cannot be experienced.
Yeah.
Yes, but you
It
see,
says it cannot be experienced.
but there are many religions, I think the essence of some religions would say that too.
I don't know what that, all right, I don't know. Here is a person who says there is such thing. And I listen to him and I say, not only does he convey it by his presence, he conveys it also through the word. And he said, tells me, be careful, the word is not the thing. But he uses the word to convey something to me which I vaguely capture, that there is this something so immense that my thought cannot capture it. And I say, all right, you have explained that very carefully, and how am I, whose brain is conditioned that way in knowledge, disciplined? How is it to free itself from all that?
Could it free itself by understanding its own limitation?
Understanding what?
That itself, that whatever thought, that could thought itself understand, that whatever it is doing, it is bound by some natural limitations.
So, you're telling me thought is limited.
Yes.
Show it to me. Not by saying memory, experience, knowledge, all knowledge. I understand all that, but I don't capture the feeling that it's limited. Because I see the beauty of the earth, I see the beauty of a building, of a person or of nature. I see all that. But when you say thought is limited, I don't feel it. It's just a lot of words which you have told me.
Well, it would require a serious investigation.
No, I've investigated it. I've investigated that thought is limited, obviously. So you don't need the investigation. It's so clear.
Oh, I see. You're saying thought sees it normally indirectly.
No. I am saying I see that. Intellectually, I understand it. It's so obvious.
Well, but that's different.
But I have no feeling for it.
Yeah.
You understand? There is no perfume in it.
That's what I would say is indirect understanding.
It's not even understanding. It means nothing.
It's just more knowledge.
Yes, it means nothing. How will you show me, not show, how will you help me, or not help, aid me to have this feeling that thought itself has, brittle, it has no, it's such a small affair. So that it's in my blood, you understand? Then when once it's in my blood, I've got it. You don't have to explain it.
But isn't that the possible approach? Not to talk about the ground. That is at the moment far removed.
That's far away.
Yeah. But rather look directly at what the mind can...
Which is thinking.
That's right, the mind is thinking.
That's all I have.
Right.
Thinking, feeling, hating, loving, all that.
Yeah.
What the activity of the mind. Well, I know that very well. You don't have to tell me.
Well, I would say you don't know it, you only think you know it.
Oh, no. That you think so. I know it. I've seen it. I've captured it. I know when I'm angry. I know when I'm wounded. It's not an idea. I've got the feeling. The hurt is carrying inside me. No, I want to get at this. You understand, sir? Am I conveying anything?
What is it you want to say?
What I want... I'm fed up with the investigation. Because I've done it all my life. I go to the Hindu business and I say, I've investigated, studied it, looked at it. Buddhism, this and that, Christianity, whatever, Islam and so on. I said, these are all just words. How do I, as a human being, to have this extraordinary feeling about it? You understand? I wonder if I'm conveying anything. Am I?
Well,
because if I have no passion behind it, it doesn't.
What does the feeling spring from?
I'm not investigating. I want to have this passion that will explode me out of this little enclosure. You understand? I've built a wall around myself.
You say you don't have the feeling.
Wait a minute. I've built a wall around myself. Cultured, fairly respectable, educated, a wall, which is myself. And I've lived with this thing for 1 million years. And I've lived trying to get out of it. By studying, by reading, by going to gurus, by all kinds of things I've done. And I'm still anchored there.
Right.
And you talk about the ground, because you see something that is breathtaking, that seems so alive, extraordinary, and so on. And I'm here, anchored in here.
Right.
You who have seen the ground, seen, quotes, must do something that will explode, break up this thing completely.
I must do something or you must do something?
Help me. Not by prayer, all kind of nonsense. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
I've fasted, I've meditated, I have given up, I have taken a vow of this and vow. I've done all those things because I've had 1,000,000 years of life. And at the end of the 1,000,000 years, I'm still where I was at the beginning, which is a great discovery for me, you understand? I thought had moved from the beginning, at the beginning, by going through all this. But I suddenly discover I'm back at the same point where I started. I have more experience, I've seen the world, I've painted, I've played music, I have danced, I follow, but come back to the original starting point.
Which is me and not me.
Me.
Right.
And I say to myself, what am I to do? And what is the human mind's relationship to the ground? That's what you're saying. Perhaps if I could establish a relationship, it might break up this center totally. You follow? It's not a motive, it's not a desire, it's not a reward. I see if the mind could establish a relationship with that, my mind has become that. Right?
But hasn't that mind then already become that?
Oh no.
But Krishnaji, I think you just have wiped away the greatest difficulties, in saying there's no desire, there's no...
because I said to you, I've lived 1,000,000 years.
Well, that is an insight.
No, I won't easily accept insight so easily as that.
Or let me put it that way, that is something much more than knowledge.
No, you're missing my point. My brain has lived for 1,000,000 years. It has experienced everything. It has been a Buddhist, it's been a Hindu, Christian, it's been a Muslim, it has been all kinds of things. But the core of it is the same. Right?
Right.
And you come along and say, look, there is a ground which is something. Are you going back to what I've already known? You follow? Hindus, Buddhists.
Yes, well.
If you do, I reject all that. Because I say, I've been through all that. They're like, to me, they're like ashes at the end of it.
Well, all of those things were attempts to create an apparent ground by thought. I mean, I think you see that through knowledge and thought, through all these Buddhism and various other ways, people created what they regarded was the ground. And it wasn't, right?
It wasn't. Because I've spent 1,000,000 years at it.
Right. So as long as knowledge enters the ground, that will be false, right?
Of course. So can I'm just asking, is there a relationship between that and the human mind?
Yes.
In asking that question, I'm also aware the danger of such a question.
Yes. Well, you may create a delusion because
Yes.
of the same kind that we have already gone through.
That, I played that before, that song.
Are you suggesting that the relationship cannot be made by you, but
That
bridge must come from...
I'm asking, no, it may be I have to make a relationship.
It may be...
Maybe
either-
my mind now is in such a state, I won't accept a thing.
But the bridge, if there is...
No, wait,
you
listen to my
come
mind.
From either side?
My mind says, I have been through all this before. I've suffered, I've searched, I've looked, I've investigated. I've lived with people who are awfully clever at this kind of thing. And so on, so on. So I'm asking this question, being fully aware the danger of that question. Because that's what the Hindus have. God is in you. The highest Prince Brahman is in you. Which is a lovely idea. I've been through that. So I am asking X. If I have if the human mind has no relationship to it, and that it's only one-way passage from that to me,
That's like the grace of God then,
yeah, that's you see, I'm captured.
that you have invented.
That I won't accept that.
And also aren't we then again back into the area of ideas?
No, there may be.
There may be.
So I'm rejecting the explanation grace of God.
Well, you're not saying the relationship is one way, nor are you saying it's not one way.
Maybe, I don't know.
You're not saying anything.
I'm not saying it. I am all that I want, quote,
Yeah.
the center to be blasted. You understand? I'm using the center not to exist. Because I see that center is the cause of all the mischief, all the neurotic conclusions, all the illusions, all the endeavor, all the effort, all the misery, everything is from that core. After 1,000,000 years, I haven't been able to get rid of it. It hasn't gone. So, what is there a relationship at all? What is the relationship between goodness and evil or bad? Right? It becomes same thing.
Yeah, I mean,
There is no relationship.
yes, it depends on what you mean by relationship, but...
I mean, all right, contact,
yeah,
touch, communication, being in the same room.
having the same root, or...
Yes, same room.
But Krishnamurti, are we then saying that there is the good and that there is the evil?
No, you're...
I'm just trying to become clear.
No. Goodness. Use another word, whole. And that which is not whole. It's not an idea. Now, is there a relationship between these two? Obviously not.
Yes, well, but if you're saying that in some sense the the center is an illusion. See, an illusion cannot be related to that which is
That's
true,
all I'm
right?
getting
Because
at.
not the content of the illusion has no relation to what is true, right?
That's it. See, that's a great, you follow? Mm-hmm. That's a great discovery. I want to establish a relationship with that. I'm using quick, rapid words to convey the same meaning, which is this petty little thing wants to have a relationship with that immensity. It cannot.
Yes, I mean, it's not just because of its immensity, but because, in fact, this thing is not.
It's not.
It's not actual. Right?
Yes.
But I don't see that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
He says the center is not actual. And that's part of my difficulty, is I don't see that the center is not actual.
Well, actual in the sense of being genuine and not an illusion, right? I mean, that something is acting, but it is not. Not the content which we know, right?
Do you see that?
No, but that's why the center, he says, the center must explode. But the
Yes.
center does not explode because I don't see the falseness in it.
No, you have missed my point. I have lived a million years. I've done all this.
I know.
And at the end of it, I'm still back at the beginning.
Right. And you say the center then must explode.
No. What I want to, the mind says this is too damn small.
Right.
And it can't do anything about it. It has prayed, it has done everything. It's still there.
Right.
And he comes along, tells me, there is this thing. I want to establish a relationship with that.
Yeah, that's the.
He tells me there's this thing, and he also tells me that the center is an illusion.
No.
Oh wait, that's too quick.
I know it is there. I'll call it what you like.
Yes.
Illusion, reality, fixation, whatever you like. It's there.
Right.
And the mind says, which is not good enough, it wants to capture that. Therefore, it wants to have that relationship with it.
Right.
And that says, sorry, you can't have relationship with me. That's all.
Okay.
But Krishnamurti, is that mind which wants to be in connection, or which wants to have a relationship with that, is that the same mind which is the me?
Yes. No, you don't split it up, sir. You're missing something which I'm trying. I have lived all this. Don't argue with me. I know I can argue with you, back and forth. I've been million years of experience has given me certain capacity, and I realize at the end of it all, there is no relationship between me and truth. Right? And that's a tremendous shock to me. You follow? It's like you have knocked me out. Because all my million years of experience says, go after that. Seek it, search it, pray for it, struggle for it, cry for it, sacrifice. I've done all that. And suddenly it says you cannot have relationship with that. You see, you understand what I'm... You're not feeling the same as I am.
I think so.
Huh? I've shed tears, left my family, everything. For that, and that says sorry. So what has happened to me? That's what I want to get at. You understand, sir? Do you understand what I'm saying? What has happened to the mind that has lived this way, done everything that man has done in search for that, and that says one morning, you have no relationship with me. Sir, this is the greatest thing, right? I don't know if you follow what I mean.
This is a tremendous shock to me, if you say that.
Is it to you?
I think it was when I first heard it.
Don't, I'm asking you, is it a shock to discover that your brain and your mind, your knowledge has valueless? All your examinations, all your studies, all the thing that one has gathered through years and years, centuries, absolutely worthless. Either I go mad, because I say, my God, I've done all this for nothing. My virtue, my abstinence, my control, my everything. And at the end of it, see, they are valueless. Sir, you understand what it does to me? You don't see it.
Well, it means, that if the whole thing goes, then it's no consequence, huh?
Because what you have said, which is you have no relationship. You are what you have done, not done, what you absolutely no value. You understand, sir?
Mm-hmm. In any fundamental sense.
Yes, sir.
It has relative value.
Huh?
It has only relative value within a certain framework in which itself has no value.
Yes, thought has a relative value. We have fixed it there.
But the framework in general has no value.
Really, that's right. Whatever you have done on earth, quotes, has no meaning to you. The ground says. Is that an idea or an actuality? You understand?
Yeah.
Is the idea being, you've told me, but I still go on. Struggling, wanting, groping, but it is an actuality in the sense that it is, that I've suddenly realize my futility of all that I've done. So I must be very careful. When I use the word I, it doesn't mean... I must be very careful to see that it is not a concept, that I don't translate into a concept, an idea, but receive the full blow of it. What's that?
No.
Where are we?
You see, Krishnamurti, for hundreds of years, probably since mankind existed, man has pursued this, what he called God, or the ground. And
As an idea?
As an idea. For many people it was very...
No, for all people.
I don't know.
I mean, it must be.
I don't know. But anyhow, then science came along, the scientific mind came along, and also told that mind, that's just an idea, that's just foolish, what you're doing.
No. Scientific mind says, through investigating matter, we'll perhaps may come upon the ground. Right?
Well, many feel that way, yes. Yeah,
many.
Or some would even add investigate the brain, you see.
Yeah, yes. May come upon... So that's their purpose for investigating the mind, not to blast each other off. Guns and all that. They say, as a scientist, I was talking good scientist, like him and so on, good, not governmental scientist, but a good scientist says, we are examining the matter, brain, and all that, to find out if there is something beyond all this.
And many people, many scientists would say today, well, we have found the ground. The ground is empty, it's emptiness, it's an energy which is indifferent to man.
Now, is that an idea or an actuality to them, which affects their life, their blood, their mind, their relationship with the world?
Well, I think it's just an idea, essentially.
So then, I've been through that. I was scientist 10,000 years ago.
Yeah.
No, you follow, I've been through all that. If merely idea, we can both play at that game. I can send the ball to you, it's in your court, and you can send it back to me. We can play that. But I've finished with that kind of game.
Right, because in general what the people discover about matter does not seem to affect them deeply psychologically.
No, of course not.
Though you might think that if they saw the whole unity of the universe they would act differently, but
oh my
they don't.
God, sir. I was just okay. They wouldn't be competing for Nobel Prize and...
Yeah, I mean...
But you could even say that it has affected some of their lives. You see, the whole communist idea is built on the idea, or what they think the fact, that whatever is just a material process which is essentially empty, and then man has to organize his life and has to organize society according to those dialectic principles.
No, it hasn't changed anything.
No.
I mean, it's
dialectical principle is one opinion opposing another opinion,
well,
hoping out of opinions find the truth.
Well, there are different. I think we should leave this aside. There are different ways of looking at the different meanings of the word dialectic.
Of course.
But it also means, to see reality as a flowing movement. To not to fix things, not to see things fixed, but to see them in movement and interconnection. Now, but I think that you could say that whatever way people managed to look at it, after they saw this unity, it didn't fundamentally change
Their lives.
In Russia, the same structures of the mind hold elsewhere, if not worse. And that wherever people have tried this, it has not actually fundamentally affected the way they feel and think and the way they live. Yeah?
Well, you see, what I want to say is that the dismissal of the pursuit of the ground, the dismissal of the pursuit of the ground has not have any shocking effect on people. I mean, the whole Eastern, the whole communist world.
No, I'm not interested. I am the people. It has given me a tremendous shock to discover the truth, not idea, discover all the churches, all the prayers, all the books have absolutely no meaning. Except for they have a meaning so that we can build a better society and so on, so on. That is
well, if we could manage to bring this point to order, then they would have a great meaning to build a good society. And
from there I start creating a society.
But as long as this disorder is at the center, we can't use that in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there would be more accurate to say that there's a great potential meaning in all that, but as long as we are, it does not affect this center, and that there's no sign that it has ever done so.
Well, you see, what I don't understand, Krishnaji, is there are many people who have never in their life really pursued what you call the ground or the religious.
They're not interested.
Well, I'm not so sure. You see, how would you approach such a person? I mean, he's just.
Sir, I'm not interested in approaching any person. I'm not interested. All the works I have done, good, everything I have done, the ground says are valueless. And if I can drop all that, my mind is the ground. Then from there I move. From there I create society. Sorry.
Right, well, yes, I think you could say that as long as you're looking for the ground somewhere by means of knowledge, then you're getting in the way. And
so, sir, to come back to earth, why has man done this?
Done what?
Accumulated knowledge. Apart from the necessity of knowledge in certain areas, why has this burden of knowledge has continued for so long?
Well, I would think that it's because man has been, in one sense, man has been trying to produce a solid ground through knowledge. You see that knowledge has tried.
Beg pardon?
Knowledge has been trying to create a ground.
Ah!
That is one of the things that's happened.
Which means what?
It means illusion.
Which means the saints, the philosophers, have educated me to, in knowledge and through knowledge, find the ground.
Well, not only to find, but in fact even to create a ground by using knowledge.
Yes. Yes, I understand that very well. But X says.
To create a ground, And in a way, you see, before we have had, in societies of mankind, we have had all these periods where mankind was caught in the craziest superstition.
So,
And their knowledge was able to do away with that.
Oh no.
To some extent it was.
Knowledge has only crippled me from seeing truth. Sorry, I'll stick to it.
Well,
It hasn't cleared me of my illusions. Knowledge may be illusion itself.
That may be, but it has cleared up some illusions.
I want to clear up all the illusions that I hold, not some. Who cares?
Well, that's a different question.
I got rid of my illusion about nationalism. I got rid of illusion about belief, about Christ, about this, about that. What? At the end of it, I realize my mind is illusion. Sorry.
Yes, well,
See, to me, who have lived for 1,000 years, to find it is absolutely worthless is something enormous.
when you say you have lived for 1,000 years or 1,000,000 years, I mean, does that mean that, in a sense, all the experience of mankind is present?
It's me.
Is me. Now, let's. Do you feel that?
I do.
And how do you feel? I mean, that's.
I feel it like, how do you feel anything? No, wait a minute, I'll tell you. It is not sympathy or empathy. It is not a thing that I have desired, that I am all human. It's a fact. An irrevocable fact to me.
Yes, well, perhaps if we could share that feeling. You see, that seems to be one of the steps that's missing, because you've repeated that quite often as a very important part of the whole thing.
Which means, sir, when you love somebody, there is no, what? There is no me. It's love. In the same way, when I say I am humanity, it is so. It's like that finger. It's not an idea, it's not a conclusion, it's part of, it's part of me.
Well, then let's say it's a feeling that I have gone through all that, all that you describe,
Yes,
all those million...
because human beings have been through it.
Yes, and if anybody has gone through it in some way, I haven't gone through it.
Huh?
I say if others have gone through it, then I also have gone through it as well.
Of course, but one is not aware of it.
No, we separate.
If we admit that our brains are not my particular brain, but the brain that has evolved through millennia.
Yes. Well, let me say why this doesn't communicate so easily, that everybody feels that the content of his brain is in some way individual, that he hasn't gone through all that. That, let's say somebody thousands of years ago went through science or philosophy.
Yes, yes.
Now, how does that affect me? You see, that's not what's clear. Right?
Because I am caught in this self-centered, narrow little cell,
Yes.
which refuses to look beyond.
Well, that is the thing which has been going on.
Yes. But you come along and tell me, as a scientist, as a religious man, that your brain is the brain of mankind.
Yes, and also knowledge is the knowledge of mankind. All knowledge is the knowledge of mankind. So that in some way we have all knowledge.
But so otherwise, Of course.
But not in detail, of course.
So, you tell me that, and I understand what you mean. Not verbally, not intellectually. I know. Not knowing. It is so. But I come to that only when I've given up ordinary things like nationalities, you know.
Yes, well, we've given up the divisions.
Yeah.
And we can see that our experience of all mankind is in
But it's so obvious, sir. You go to the most primitive village in India and you talk about, he'll tell you all about his troubles, his problems, his wife, lack of children, poverty, and you come here, it's exactly the same thing. Only here they're in trousers, there, nothing else there, kimono or whatever it is. So, I mean, that's, for X, it is an indisputable fact, it is so. And he says, all right, at the end of all this, 1,000,000 years, I suddenly discover or shown that it's empty. See, sir, we don't accept it. We're too clever. We're so soaked with disputations and arguments and knowledge. And we don't see a simple fact. We refuse to see it. And you and X comes around and says, see it, it's there. Prove, and the immediate whole machinery of thought begins. So they say, be silent. So I practice silence. I've done that for 1,000 years. It has led nowhere. So there is only one thing, which is to discover that what I have done is useless. They're ashes. See, sir, that doesn't depress one. That's the beauty of it. I think it's like the phoenix.
Rising from the ashes. It's,
Born out of ashes.
Well, in a way, it's freedom, right? To be free of all that, right? So.
Something totally new is born.
Now, what you said before is that the mind is the ground, it is the unknown. Right?
The mind.
Yeah.
Yes. But not this mind.
No, but I meant that then in that case it's not the same mind. But
Yeah. So, see, if I've been through all that and come to a point when I have to end all that, it is a new mind.
Yes. Well, that's clear. And the mind is its content, and the content is knowledge, and without knowledge it's
Yes.
a new mind. Right?